world moves fast. Your workday? Even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Hello, I'm here during the lunch rush with Janice, who owns her own food truck.
Best cheesesteaks in town.
Janice traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for her food truck business. We're here where she needs us most.
They sure are.
We make it so easy for her to save, with customised coverage that grows with her business. Sorry, I just get so emotional talking about saving folks money.
Not this onion I'm chopping?
It's just so beautiful. Oh yeah, no, it's the onion.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
I'm Gary Birtles, one of the old gits from a long time ago. You've got to tune into Tricky Talks, I believe, so just do it. All the best.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And still Robertson, getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
And welcome to another episode of Tricky Talks. That was an absolutely seamless introduction. As I'm on the desk today, Simon is feeling a little bit poorly, so hopefully that sounded okay. We have got Mollo with us as usual. Welcome, Mollo.
Good evening.
And then we have a spectacular addition off the bench on her Tricky Talks debut. We have the founder of the Garibaldi Girls, the star of the Overlap, very well known on X and Fanalysis, Ellie Molloson. Welcome. Well, before we talk about last night and everything that happened in Europe, I think it's fair that we have a little nod to John Robertson, whose funeral has been happening today, and we've seen, some footage on the news and on social media, and lots of ex-players and people that have been in his life paying tribute to what an incredible player he was, what an absolute legend of the game, and what an absolutely fantastic man and person that he was. So I think we just want to take a minute just to touch on that as Forest fans, football fans, and just fans of really good people in the world. So do you want to start?
Absolutely. I think driving home tonight, I saw the goings on, and it's like you think, sad. But ultimately, it will, I'm sure, have been a celebration of a great human being, our greatest ever player. And for people of a certain age, slightly older than me, and maybe a year or so younger than me, but not as old, not as young as you two folk, he was, for many of us, our first real hero. He was my first hero as a player. As I said, used to think he was Skinning Robbo. Didn't realise his actual name was John for a little while as a youngster. I thought it was just Skinning Robbo. He was that good. And even when you watch the footage now, he was just another level. And it's ironic, isn't it? This season we've been complaining about the quality of our crosses sometimes, and there's a guy who could put it on a sixpence. No pace, but he didn't need it because it was all in his brain. And he delivered time and time again, both-footed, and as Cloughie would say, made the game look really, really simple. And I know I'm an old fart and we eulogise, but thankfully there's plenty of footage out there, and I know Ellie was probably sick of hearing about the like of that European team for many years. And then thanks to that wonderful, wonderful film, I was able to sit Ellie through and get a glimpse of how brilliant they all were. But obviously, Robbo, we all know, was the star man. Yeah.
So
Anything
I
to
was
add,
certainly brought up to believe that he was the best player ever. So I guess that must have been a similar experience for you, Ellie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm too young to have been as fortunate to have ever seen him play, but I certainly always knew who he was, and I've never had the privilege of meeting him, but I know many people who have, and one thing that I find just incredible is a man who's part of a team who's nicknamed the Miracle Men, and who has achieved such ridiculous, incredible things, and is so talented and well known, is so incredibly humble. From everyone that I know who's met him, they've all said the same thing, that he was very funny, very sarcastic, and had a bit of a laugh, and just so grounded. And I just think that's incredible, because if I achieved anywhere near half of what he did, I would be the most arrogant person in the world. So I've just got to commend him for that. What a brilliant, brilliant player, and what an incredible human being. I think football's definitely grieving today, but he is always going to be remembered as one of the best players there are, certainly at the very least for Nottingham Forest, if not ever. And it's a sad day for football, but I'm sure many people will be laughing and remembering and telling stories today of all their wonderful encounters with John Robertson.
Yeah, and I guess in time to come, when we look around the world-famous City Ground, the place that we all call home, we will be looking at the Brian Clough stand, the Peter Taylor stand, and the John Robertson stand. And if nothing else, that is going to provoke those conversations with the younger fans as they're coming through as to who these people were and what they meant. And I think that can only be a positive. So I think we're going to start, well, we should start off, shouldn't we, with about last night. What happened when Forest all of a sudden decided to show up in a European game? Who wants to go first?
Ladies, guests first.
Yeah, go on, Ellie.
Well, it was just brilliant, wasn't it? In short, I think I went in hoping, honestly, to see no starting 11. I said on the radio, whenever it was, that I just want to see the children put out because it's a dead rubber game. And not out of disrespect to the team, but mostly just out of fear, to be honest. Because what I was scared of was, A, if we played a full starting lineup, someone would get injured. But then if we played a half-half lineup like we have historically in the Europa League, we'd get battered or have a terrible performance, and then it might bring down the performance of those starting players that potentially start like they did in Braga, and then ruin the momentum for the team that's going to play Crystal Palace, which we now know is a huge, huge fixture. So for me, I went in actually not wanting to see a single player who starts, who is even on the bench. I just wanted to see children on the pitch, the academy players, people I've never heard of. But you know what? It's nice to be proven wrong. It was a brilliant performance. Well, everything I feared went the exact opposite direction. I think having some of the starting players, obviously you had like Sells, Williams, who else? Sangare started as well, didn't he? And instead of being dragged down with a poor performance, it's like they brought everybody up to their level. Everyone had a good game. I don't think anyone had a bad game. That's the best we've seen from James McAtee. I thought he was brilliant, and I was really, really happy for him to get a goal. And it put a lot of rumours to rest. And I'll admit myself, even I've been questioning things that have been going on in terms of the dressing room, or do players actually want to be there? I've been very publicly slating certain players about, have they got that right attitude? Have they got the right mindset? And now they've made me look like a fool, and fair play to them. And I'm really happy to say that certain players really stepped up. And not only is it good to see a good performance, but the resilience that shows after being booed off the pitch literally 1 week ago. That's brilliant. That's incredible. And let's hope this is the beginning of a brilliant, or even just an okay season for the likes of James McAtee, and who else who did a really good job. Even Morato, I think, did a decent enough job. And Doy, I would have liked to have seen more from Bakwa. But, you know, no complaints. Everyone was making me happy. God, it was nice to see.
if I just pick up on that, it's great. You can only beat what's in front of you. But that was like watching a training match of the under-16s playing the under-12s. We made them look that bad, admittedly, and they've obviously got some good results. But my God, they were terrible. The right back, he's going to need a blood transfusion. He got twisted inside out that much. And although he got... Undoy showed what we might hopefully see, but you're not going to do that against a Premier League right back. And what summed it up for me, if you want that moment of summing up the difference in class and the... Everybody makes mistakes, of course, we've seen it, and we criticise certain mistakes. But I think it was when we were defending the Bridgeford, and a hopeful ball was kind of semi-cleared, semi-passed, and I thought, oh, rubbish ball. And the right-back missed his header. It was like, genuinely, we were laughing where we were saying, we've got one of the lads who's a good footballer but hated heading. We were all going, even you would have headed that. It was that bad. So I think you've got to put it into context that we had room, time and space, and they were terrible. And I think Sean Dyche alluded to it perfectly, didn't he? He said, we look like a Premier League team. And I get what he was saying. He was trying to explain it a bit further, but I totally get what he was saying. We should be outclassing a team like that, as we should have last week. And instead of trying to do what we did last week, was play this stupid European tempo, we just got into them, won the tackles, helped by a very, very lenient referee with the physical contact at times, which I like. And we battered them. And as Ellie said, McAtee... Yeah, I've said right from the off, McAtee's first touch is class. It's been his second, third, fourth, fifth touch that's been a problem. Well, last night, with the space and time he had and earned for his first touch, he did damage, didn't he? He played really well, and like you say, Undoy, I thought... and this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment. It's not meant to. I love Ryan Yates. I'd have him in my squad all day long. There's been times I'd have him playing. But last night, he looked like peak Messi. Do you know what I mean? He was taking players on, drifting past them. He is smart enough a footballer to know he was up against players not of his level, and he showed it. And I think we had to put him to bed, and we certainly did. And it was lovely. Jesus took his goals well, but again, that second goal's never getting scored against a Premier League centre half, is it? Unless it's Morata. You know, the own goal was comical because it wasn't the best ball in the... It wasn't a bad ball in, but he could have picked a man out. And as soon as he put it across, because we're right in line with where he crossed it, thinking, oh, could have picked... You know, thank you very much for that gift. And that got us going as well. That first goal was ever important. And if we'd have got it last week, maybe the same would have happened. We'll never know. But there we go. And at the end of the day, it's been fun today. No, we're going to be... not wasting, that's the wrong word. Spending another few days' worth of wages... a trip to Istanbul, which is a beautiful city, and I'm very much looking forward to going there, but I wish I wasn't, in a sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I've never been to Turkey, so this is... I'm really pleased about this, because this is the first new country I'll have been to on this European tour. All the others, as much as I like them, I had been before. So that was a massive bonus for me.
Probably shouldn't say this if we've never been.
Okay.
But Ellie knows what's coming. Me and Gemma had our very first foreign holiday together in Turkey, and when we got home, I made the statement: unless I'm conscripted and we happen to be at war with Turkey, I'm never going there again. I've never been since.
Yeah,
I lost.
but you've been,
I could probably do it now.
I think you did an in-betweeners because every other person.
No, Ellie wasn't. Ellie
been like, it's amazing. It's the best place. Go there. Even the rich folk go to Turkey, and that's when I'm like, oh man, yeah. I think you just got unlucky.
Well, hopefully it can prove me wrong, because I could probably do what I had then. I had food poisoning while I was there and lost 1.5 stone in about 3 days. But I didn't really have it to lose back then, whereas now I'll probably look any different.
Wow.
A drop in the ocean.
I don't think you're going to be getting any calls from visitturkey.com about endorsements, Mollo.
Well, to be fair, it might be a bit different, and Istanbul does look stunning, so here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, you've already said it about Yates. He was my man of the match. I know we'll get onto that properly later, but I felt as well, and I've said it before on the pod, when he's had a bad game, when he's made an error, when he's made a mistake, I do genuinely feel that there's nobody that is going to feel that more than Ryan Yates. And to come out and give that performance last night, I think was absolutely his way of saying, okay, I'm sorry about that, but now there's this. And you're right, you can only beat what was in front of you. And if you're going to face a team that are a level or two below you, then you might as well do it like that. And it's what I think we've been waiting for, because we have faced quite a few teams that you would say are levels below us and not really given that performance. Not so much at home, to be fair, but certainly away. And that, for me, watching it, that performance had everything. We were professional. We were in control in a positive way. We scored some excellent goals. We saw players that we've all been wondering about, talking about, doubting, finally step up and give us the performance that, as fans, I think we need in order to be fans of theirs. We're all fans of Forest. We're always going to be fans of Forest, but like fans of them as players. So absolutely kudos to McAtee. And I mean, I said it, didn't I, on the previous pod? Can we not play McAtee? Thank you for proving me wrong. I love to be proved wrong. And Doy, again, I feel like he was showing flashes of the player that you've often said, Mallow, that you think he could become. Again, yes, against a lesser level, but it was still there. The thing that I found a little bit bizarre, and I know has been spoken about a little bit today, was all of a sudden he makes subs at 60 minutes. And he brings on all the players that you think, well, we don't need to bring them on now. They can rest ready for Palace. And then all of a sudden, what? On comes Morgan, on comes Aina, on comes Cal. And it was just... Explain that thinking to me. What
well, he likes to get minutes in the legs, doesn't he, as well? Some of the Aina needs minutes in the legs because he's getting closer and closer to being fully match fit. And I think he likes to get minutes in the legs. Some of those players that have probably been nagging him because they want to play in Europe, they join the club for things like that, not to sit watching, the stiffs go out in their place. So I think there'll be an element of that. It's at home. It wasn't a sellout, but it was still 26,000, I think, with virtually no away. Well, maybe 800 or so away fans, I guess. So you've still got your core supporters there on the whole, so you don't want to be letting them down at home anyway. So I just think he proved a point, maybe, that he can make the subs, but there's always a risk you can get injured every time you walk on a pitch. And as we know, that can be in training just as much as it can be a match sometimes, as we know with Savona and players over the course of our especially last few seasons. But you'd rather go out and play a game if you're a footballer than just be training. And I think it was a good move. I think bringing on the players he did was a message to the opposition, because let's not forget, as bad as they were, our man Morata got beaten twice and they hit the bar, didn't they, in the post. So I like him. I think he's got loads of potential, but I don't understand why he's not more dominant in the air, because he was superb on the ground yesterday, albeit he wasn't up against very much. Superb's perhaps a bit generous, but you know what I mean, very, very competent. And that's my thinking. It's minutes in the legs, it's being part of a winning team, that winning feeling, 2 weeks on the trot, or 2 games on the trot rather. There was a slip of the tongue in his interview, I don't know if you heard it, where he didn't mean it at all. He was talking about, we won again, and he kind of started talking about Sunday, and he kind of mixed up he said, yeah, and then another win on Sunday when we play Palace. I thought, I hope he's right, but we'll see. So yeah, I think it's just minutes in the legs as much as anything, winning feeling. And I think backward, it was a good time to bring him on, because he's had his confidence removed, didn't he, in the last few weeks. So I can't knock it, and fair play. And it's always good to see Murillo come on and have a storming attempted Des Walker-esque for his 1-goal run. I thought that was going to come through to him, but yeah, entertaining, really enjoyed it. Bit cold, but I think we can cope with that.
So I suppose, what's next now? So we've seen that team play as well as they did, and now we're off to Istanbul, as the song says. So what's next? Is it that team and how far they can take us? What are we expecting in terms of the changes? I mean, we're expecting Hutchinson to be an addition. What next? What do you want to see next, Ellie?
A win, in short. I think the big game is Crystal Palace, because that is a huge chance to draw them in. And I think I'm always a believer of one game at a time. My first thought is Crystal Palace, what happens next before I even think ahead to Istanbul. I think the difference with the Europa League now is you've got to go all out. In my opinion, if we're in those sorts of rounds, it's not like before where it's a league. Now I do want to start seeing more of the better players, more of the starting 11, which can risk more injuries, but for, you know, a lifetime of memories, and it's our only potential opportunity of being in Europe again this season. Not saying it will happen, but you've got to fight for it. But I think Crystal Palace is the big one, and we've on the back of the momentum of the last couple of wins, confidence is so up, and that I think has been a really huge factor in terms of a lot of the poor performances we've seen, because when the performances have been bad, they've been really bad, and when we've won, it's been really good. I can only think of Man City and Wolves as two anomalies. Everything else has either been like, oh my God, we're the best team in the world, we've won 3-0 against Liverpool away, we're doing it, or it's absolutely diabolical. And I can only put that down to mental resilience, confidence. And what we're starting to see now is players have the confidence to actually play football. There's been a lot of criticism of Dyche's tactics, and there is some criticism is fair enough, and I do mean only some, because my point across this entire difficult period has been no manager tells a player to not score goals. No manager tells a player to just keep passing around the back when you're losing 2-0. No manager tells a player to stop playing football. That just doesn't happen. They might have a different style, but no manager is telling players to do that. So I think the confidence...
Except for Chris Hughton.
Well, players have got to take accountability, and I think they did. And I think that's what I like to see, is that I was getting really frustrated, like lots of fans, looking at the players thinking, how are you putting a performance out like that? And how is it everyone's blaming solely the manager? He takes responsibility, of course, but I thought the players were getting off lightly, in my opinion. Professional footballers needed to be doing better than that, and there really was no excuse for the performances they were putting out. But now they're starting to show us who they are. We're starting to see players actually take on anyone ever. We're starting to see a few more runs forward. We're starting to see a few more, you know, I love this word, audacious shots. And we are starting to see a little bit more tricks and flicks, and obviously all within reason in the right areas of the pitch. But one thing I always say is you can't score a goal by passing it round the back. You can't. If you take a shot and it misses, or it's saved, or it's blocked, or it's rebounded, you have another chance. You've already had one, but if it rebounds, you have another chance. And I know that's so blatantly obvious, but our players clearly weren't thinking that way. It's like they didn't want to shoot unless they were in a perfect position. Whereas now they're starting to have a go, and I think that's one of the huge differences in performance. I wouldn't look at it and necessarily pick out stylistic differences. I think it is genuinely hugely down to confidence.
This episode is brought to you by Credit Karma. When it comes to your money, Credit Karma keeps you ahead of the game. You can count on Credit Karma to keep up with your financial needs as they evolve, helping you monitor your progress and giving you personalized recommendations so you can make strides towards your goals. Make sure you're on the right track, no matter where you are on your financial journey. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on. Download today.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, they've started passing to a red shirt again, haven't they? Which is always helpful.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken a bit about fundamentals, but I think we can all agree that last night was more than just the fundamentals. It was a full team performance, and yeah, I absolutely agree with you about Crystal Palace, and we will come on to that next. But I guess if you're gonna go out, if you're gonna get yourself into the playoffs as opposed to the top 8, you might as well go down. screaming we're better than this, scoring 4 goals, and just an absolutely emphatic victory. So I think let's enjoy that. Let's enjoy that we do seem to have transferred a little bit of the consistency that we're finding in the Premier League into the Europa. And yeah, look forward to Turkey in a few weeks' time. So just before we move on, Mollo, I think we need to do a Mollo's moment.
I'm going to go for... It's going to have to be a goal, isn't it? Because although there was one bit of skill by McAtee that I loved when he was on the half turn, but I'm going to go for my favourite goal of the night. It's got to be, it's not the penalty, not the own goal. So Jesus' first goal, because I thought it was a great striker's goal, whereas the second goal was a really, really well taken, well muscled goal, but that's not happening against a better defence. Whereas the first goal, defence couldn't do anything, could they? He just put it lovely where it needed to be. So Jesus' first goal for me. There we go.
Fantastic. Okay, so yes, we have got Crystal Palace to play on Sunday, and a win takes us level on points, and we are,
I'm going for man of the match, Yatesy, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. See, this is why we need Simon in our lives.
Yeah.
Simon, he needs to be getting better. Man of the match, Yatesy, for me too. You got a man of the match, Ellie?
Oh, yeah, it's probably got to be Yatesy. Although, just to be different, so it's a bit more exciting, I'm going to say McAtee purely because of the mental resilience that he showed to be able to come off the back of such poor performances and all the hate he's had online. And to be honest, probably fair enough, myself included, sorry James, but I think I've got to commend him for that. And taking the pen off Gibbs White, I was pretty happy about that too.
Yeah, I like that arrogance, the confidence, borderline arrogance, to stand up to the guy who's been the first team captain while Yates is not on the pitch, who's taken the penalties generally while Chris Wood hasn't been on the pitch and missed 1 or 2. Fair play to him. And the irony was, it wasn't the best penalty in the world, was it? If the keeper dives the right way, you never know. But a great penalty is a penalty that hits the back of the net. So, fair play.
Fantastic. Right, so we're moving on to home game against Crystal Palace. A win takes us level on points with them. We seem to be, dare I say, on the ascendancy, and they seem to be doing the other thing that we've been doing so well previously. So it feels like a huge opportunity to silence a few chants that we're likely to be experiencing, to really say that we are on the rise. Maybe not, like we said, maybe not a dramatic rise in terms of moving up the table, but that's more about how the table is, but certainly a way of saying we are not going down, we are here to stay, and we are here for the Premier League. So first of all, let's talk about who we're expecting to see. I don't think anybody's realistically expecting the starting 11 from yesterday, are we?
No. Unchanged team from the previous league games, with the proviso he might want a bit more width, but maybe save that till later on, because the worst thing we can do is underestimate Palace, the way, and I don't mean just the team, the way fans underestimated Everton when they had all those injuries, the way fans underestimated Fulham when they had a few players going off to AFCON and said this is an opportunity. I've seen the exact same wording today. This is an opportunity. Palace are in free fall. They've lost Gahey. Mateta's not likely to play. For me, it's massively about the attitude. And to start well, I think it's nothing to do with Hutchinson not having a good attitude. I just think the way Dominguez goes about his business every game, I think he deserves to start anyway, but I think unchanged team for me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a cringe phrase, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think ultimately that's what it's got to be. And I don't think Crystal Palace are going to put in a bad performance. I think, and if there's one thing Forest really good at doing, it's ending other teams' bad runs. So I'm almost more anxious than ever. But it's an opportunity for us rather than, the demise of them. Is how I think we need to approach it. And if Crystal Palace put in a good performance, we need to understand that. We need to recognise the talent of the other team, which I think as fans we failed to do in the past. But one thing I want to say as well, which perhaps I've kind of contradicted myself with my previous comment, is we need to win this game, not just to draw them in and, it's Palace and they're doing bad. I think if we win this game and if we beat Leeds or get a good draw against Leeds, then the pressure is not completely off, but a significant amount of pressure is off in the league, which means that we can draw more attention to the Europa League, assuming we, progress through the rounds, because as fans, that's what we want to see. And I think Sean Dyche does appreciate this, to be fair. I think he got it wrong at Braga, as we know, in terms of underestimating that perhaps it's probably better to have won at Braga, take the pressure off straight away and maybe go through to the top 8, but he admitted his own mistake. So now I kind of want him, and I'm sure he does, he knows this game has to be won no matter what, and win the next couple or get good points, just so that we can then focus a little bit more in the Europa League, because understandably that has kind of always been in the back of our minds, and you can definitely tell by some of the team selections, and I cannot even argue historically with those team selections, given that we were in the relegation zone and we were in such danger. So I just want the pressure to be relieved. It's for us to win, for us to gain points, as opposed to for Palace to drop them. It's based on our performance and what we do, how we approach it.
I think Palace can't underestimate. They've got some good players still. Hughes is a really good midfielder, the ex-Sheep fella that has been playing in and out a bit this season, but I think he's back in now, isn't he, because of injuries. They've got some good players. They've got some good players at full-back. I don't know who's fit and who's injured, to be fair. One of the best keepers in the league as well, let's not forget. I don't know who plays up front for him, because the rumour is Mateta won't play anyway.
That was actually confirmed this afternoon. It was on Sky Sports that it was confirmed that he isn't in the squad for Sunday.
So good job, Mr. Marinakis, and love the way that was unsettled. Like Ellie said, we've got to go about our business properly, do what we do well. And one thing I will say is winning isn't everything on Sunday. Not losing is, if that makes sense. That old cliche, if you can't win, just make sure you don't lose. Because too many times we've like last season's classic one was that Everton game at home, where it's 0-0 with a few minutes to go and we're trying to do too much to win it and we end up losing it. And the key is don't lose.
Yeah, and Brennan Johnson will play, I would imagine.
I imagine so. And there's another player who's a superb player. And where better place to get his career off the mark? I mean, I hope he doesn't this time, as much as I love him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
We know what he can do. Spurs fans know what he can do, even though they're too stupid to admit it. Palace fans aren't the brightest bunch, we know. Probably, to be fair, only as good as their leader who can't open an email, so that's probably why. So they're already writing off Brennan, and we know what he can do. We know what a pace merchant, what a finisher, what a class act he can be if you play to his strengths. So let's hope that's not on Sunday.
Absolutely. Okay, so I guess we move on to score predictions. Now, see, what worries me about Palace is you could almost write the story of the Brentford game. It was very Forest, wasn't it? It was very Forest to go there and win. Nobody really thought we would, and you look at your form and awful performance in Europe, and then we go and do that at Brentford, and isn't that brilliant, and isn't that very, very Forest? Equally, you could say it's very, very Forest to show up at Brentford, have the best game potentially we've had in Europe, and then absolutely crash and burn to Crystal Palace, and like you say, Brennan Johnson launch his Crystal Palace career. So that is my niggle. That is my Forest niggle. But what I'm trying to reassure myself with is, if you look at it, it has been a fairly steady, just sort of upward trend. So I am putting my faith in that word that we've used so much about us finding and building some consistency and finally showing that. Like you said, I'm hoping for an unchanged starting 11. We are at home. They're going to be really, I think, there's a lot in it. It's quite a charged game just because of everything that's gone on between the two sides. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win.
I'll take that.
Yeah? 1-0 win?
Yeah,
That's what
I'll
I'm
take
going
that.
with. I'm going with a 1-0 win. Anybody got
Go on,
any
Ellie.
thoughts
I think they're at least going to score one goal for Brennan, and it will be Brennan. And so I'm going to go. How confident am I feeling? I'll go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 Forest, and Brennan scoring their only goal. Jesus scores at least one. That's what I'm going for.
That'd be nice.
Right, I'm going to go, and there is a reason behind this, apart from obviously my silly superstitions. I'm going 1-1, because it's always tight games with them, and we've drawn with them, I think, all bar one game since we got promoted. I think there's going to be a reaction from them from everything. But also, this Forest team has a habit, when the opposition don't turn up and we roll them over, such as Tottenham, and don't put in a tackle, and not to take anything away, we still put them away. Follow that up with an abysmal display somewhere else. So I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm hoping that if we are abysmal in, say, the first half, that we can turn it around. But I'm going to say, with a massive hope of being wrong and my superstitions, I'm going for 1-1. I think it's a dangerous game for all the reasons you said, Kate. I think it's going to be really, really... because it's going to be tough to prepare for in terms of tactically, because who's going to be up front? Is it going to be that Romain fella, or is it going to be Brennan Johnson? It's a strange one. Who's fit in their midfield? Who's going to play in midfield, because their best midfielder on paper is suspended, of course. Adam Wharton got sent off, didn't he, last week?
He did, yes, of course.
I can't remember who their other midfielders are alongside Hughes, but Hughes has come off the bench quite a bit, so they must have another good player in there that I can't think of at the minute, because he's not a world beater by any means, but Hughes is a very, very good player who would walk into our starting squad, not necessarily starting lineup, but starting squad. So we need to be very aware. And he's a feisty little so who likes to get stuck in and wind things up. So if he's on top of certain players, it could go the other way, as Brentford could so easily have done if it hadn't have gone better after that first 5-10 minutes.
And possibly Lorenzo Luca on the bench with a bit of a cameo at the end, so we can all have a look at him, maybe?
Maybe. He's already done his job, doesn't he? Just by signing him, all our strikers have started banging him in. The fact that Jesus played so much of the game the other day, I wonder if he's going to get Tyro out full of confidence. No, obviously Jesus will start.
I mean, nobody in their right minds could possibly not want to see Taiwo after last weekend.
But imagine we've got three proper... Well, I say proper. We've got three options up front now. When did we last have that?
I know. And although it doesn't look like Mateta is going to be heading our way now, does it? It looks like he's potentially going to Italy, I think I saw. But like you say, who needs him? We don't need him.
No.
We've got Jesus, we've got Taiwo, we've got the new big Italian stallion. So yeah,
Chris Wood to come back.
Well, yeah.
Eventually.
I hope so. Although I'm not 100% convinced that he will. Right. Well, I think that probably just about wraps it up. We'll say short and sweet, like I don't know,
like Ellie. No transfer rumours have been flying around. Did you see the goalkeeper one today?
I did, and you know what? I prefer that. I prefer that to the Wolves guy.
Oh yeah. Well,
Who is it?
I don't know much about them. Ortega from Man City, but he's all right, isn't he? But I don't know. I feel like we've got our Matt Sells back now. Anyway, this is the way he's been playing since he came back in the side, and sometimes that happens, doesn't it? A period sitting on the bench watching the game, and he's come back, and it feels like we've got last season's Sells back now, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, as long as he can stay fit, then I don't think anybody's taking his spot.
Nah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, transfer deadline day is Monday. Yes. So, I would say there's definitely been a few more rumours flying around. We're being linked with more people, so we
love a late transfer, don't we?
We do indeed.
Or 10.
Yeah, let's just hope it's somebody that we've heard of and that is going to add some value. So we'll stay all over that on the social media platforms and share anything of note that we see. And I'm sure when Simon's back to give us that beautiful air of professionalism, we can discuss all these things in much more order.
Shimmicass, there's another one that's just come into my head.
But Liverpool for now, I think we will leave it there and bask in the glory that was yesterday evening's European performance and look forward to more of the same at home against Crystal Palace on Sunday. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, Ellie. I hope next time you come it's a little bit more of a professional makeup, but you know, we muddle through, we make some sense along the way, I hope. So thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Hi, it's Victor Hedman from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Hedman with a drive, score!
The NHL Stadium Series is coming to the Sunshine State. Watch as we take on the Boston Bruins in the 2026 NHL Stadium Series in Tampa. Catch all the action on Sunday, February 1st on ESPN. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series for tickets and more information. That's NHL.com/Stadium Series, and I'll see you February 1st.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.